So what do you think is depression?
Hmm. Surely there is an element of sadness in word depression. From my own research and the experiences I've had in my environment so far, I can say that depression is a common health situation that affects millions of people globally. Depression is a mood disorder that causes persistent suffering, causes sadness in people's life.
Wow. So now, what are those? How can we possibly identify? Oh, this person this person is actually depressed. What are those signs of depression, sir? From your experience, from your encounter with different individuals in the society.
It's very possible, Mr. Clare, from my experiences, the symptoms or otherwise can say signs of knowing that an individual is depressed is one, self-harm. If you observe someone every time trying to maybe wound or injure his or herself or committing suicide, that is one of the major signs, symptoms of depression. It can be as a result of sleeplessness, having difficulty to sleep.
Wow.
Or even sleeping too much is also a sign of depression.
Wow.
Then difficulty in eating less or eating too much. Yes, it's a sign of depression because an individual who is depressed may not have appetite to eat.
Yes. Yeah.
At the same time, that same individual can also be, let me eat whatever comes my way.
After all, life.
I'm not balanced. Life no normal with me.
I understand.
So those are the major signs of depression. And at times you observe a depressed person making drastic decision the person is not supposed to make at that particular time. Just taking decisions at random without thinking twice before making such decision. So those are the signs and symptoms of depression.
What are those signs? Because I believe that depression in itself could also cause certain damages to one's mental health. So looking at such kind of home where we have people that are psychologically impaired. So what are those damages depression could cause to someone's mental health? Because I believe the mind is the platform where we think or originates action from.
See, when it has to do with depression, there is the central nervous system that is involved in. And there's a thing we call neurotransmitter. These are brain chemicals. For example, like we have a thing called GABA, dopamine, norepinephrine. So when those chemicals are in their low state, can lead to depression. And when such occurs, you see what will happen. The cognitive states now will be affected. The issue of thinking, the way the person will think, will differ from the way you think normal. Ability to cope with situations
also differ.
The person will be exposed to stress because the cortisol is low. The issue of interacting with people, no way.
Another issue.
Is another issue. You won't interact with people, always be alone. So that is a problem that has to do with the damages that depression will do to an individual.
Hello, beautiful and great viewers. Welcome to Uproot the Issue podcast, a podcast that removes and takes away any issue that affects oneself, the family, and society at large. So today we'll be pondering together on the possibility of living without depression. Always in your service is Ekemini Ekwere, your host. Is it possible to live without depression? Of course, you may have an answer to this, and I believe you have an answer. But join us as we start this conversation together. So I'm not here alone, and I can't be here alone. I have with me in this studio a psychologist as well as a teacher who is also a human resource expert. I'll try to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves shortly. So I'll start with you, Ma.
Good afternoon. I am Dorothy John Ogoro, a clinical psychologist.
Thank you very much, Ma. Okay, sir.
Good afternoon. It's an humble opportunity and privilege to be here. And this podcast. My name is Michael Item. human resources experts. Thank you very much for having me, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. So starting this whole issue of depression, I discovered that most people do mistake it for something that has to do with sadness, being sad, though we have the element of sadness in it. But sir, what do you think is depression?
Surely there is an element of sadness in word depression. From my own research and the experiences I've had in my environment so far, I can say that depression is a common health situation that affects millions of people globally. Depression is a mood disorder that causes persistent suffering, causes sadness in people's life.
Wow. Okay. So depression has to do with that persistent disorder, which actually blocks any human being from getting to do what the person maybe has been enjoying to do. All right. So during my research, I discovered that a child of 10 years could could possibly lose interest in doing that thing the child loves doing. And I also discovered that a lady that during menstruation develops certain habits that, stops her from partaking in the daily activities like going out. She can possibly lock herself inside. And I believe that will relate to the types of depression. So as a clinical psychologist, what are the types of depression?
We have two main types of depression. One is a major depressive disorder.
Okay.
And the other is persistent depressive disorder, or in psychology we term it as dysthymia. So major depressive disorder is a type of disorder that you see that will last for 2 weeks. Last for 2 weeks. And what you see there is that, for example, in a scenario that you pass through a tragic event, and this tragic event will be overwhelmed by feelings of unhappiness at all times. Then it is a severe form, but it comes and goes, and can just be because of the event. Sometimes it will come without even knowing what has led you to allow it to bounce back. But persistent depressive disorder, that one can last for 2 months. Because it is there over time. It can form a part of one's life every day. Then that one can be, apart from 2 months, can even get to 20 years to 30 years.
It is serious.
But it seems to be mild, but it's chronic, because that person has allowed it to be there as a lifetime affair. So it continues like that.
Wow. So I saw a write-up that we also have a kind of depression that affects women that actually puts to bed. So what kind of depression could that be?
It will be psychotic depression.
Okay.
Depressive state. That's maybe the woman during labor, she passes through a lot of pains. So after delivery, that can be the case.
Wow. I never discovered that depression can last through such a period of time, 20 years. Someone you feel that all right. So, depression, sometimes I see that the death toll in the society today, mostly if you should check, is caused by a depressed life. So now, what are those, how can we possibly identify, this person is actually depressed? What are those signs of depression, sir? From your experience, from your encounter with different individuals in the society?
It's very possible, Mr. Korea, from my experiences, the symptoms, or otherwise you can say signs of knowing that an individual is depressed is one, self-harm. If you observe someone every time trying to maybe wound or injure his or herself or committing suicide, that is one of the major signs, symptoms of depression. It can be as a result of sleeplessness, having difficulty to sleep.
Wow.
or even sleeping too much is also a sign of depression.
Wow.
Then difficulty in eating less or eating too much. Yes, it's a sign of depression because an individual who is depressed may not have appetite to eat.
Yes. Yeah.
At the same time, that same individual can also be, let me eat whatever comes my way.
After all, life.
I'm not balanced. Life no normal with me.
How does that?
So those are the major signs of depression. And at times you observe a depressed person making decision, drastic decision the person is not supposed to make at that particular time. Just taking decisions at random without thinking twice before making such decision. So those are the signs and symptoms of depression. When you come across such person or someone and if you are going through such processes of making drastic decisions, you really need to look at that person very well. As a psychologist, you need to look at the person very well, study what the person is going through in and out.
Wow. So, what do you have to chip in there with your level of knowledge in medical aspect?
As rightly said, because we want to talk about the symptoms now or the signs, we have to look at the types. Like in major depressive, the person will have fatigue, will feel that sense of worthlessness. I'm good for nothing now. Because, for example, if somebody that used to take care of him or her going to die, and that was in all his lifetime, is the person that used to take care. Now the person is no more like this weak care of a person. So the parent or the children now feel they are no more. Who is going to take care of them? They feel that sense of worthlessness. They have fatigue. As he has said, bulimia, nervosa, that is overeating. You overeat. But you have anorexia, you won't even eat at all.
This is serious.
They now think of committing suicide. It's one of the signs concerning major depressive. Okay, when we talk of persistence now, the two things that distinguishes them from major is that the person will stand aloof, not want to speak with it, will not want to interact with anybody. He will be so angry with anybody that comes his or her way. Then somebody he will now want to take to substance, want to abuse substances like alcohol, get into smoking or take drugs indiscriminately. So, and other signs of major will also follow suit.
Wow.
And he will be craving for anything
that comes his way.
Want to take it at all times, pray for that particular thing at all times.
Wow, this is serious. Sometimes you may even get depressed and you don't know that you are depressed already. This conversation is getting interesting. So what are those signs? Because I believe that depression in itself could also cause certain damages to one's mental health. So looking at such kind of home where we have people that are psychologically impaired. So what are those damages depression could cause to someone's mental health? Because I believe the mind is the platform where we think or originates action from.
When it has to do with depression, it is the central nervous system that is involved in. And there's a thing we call neurotransmitter. These are brain chemicals. For example, like we have a thing called GABA, dopamine, norepinephrine. So when those chemicals are in their low state, it can lead to depression. And when such occurs, you see what will happen. The cognitive states now will be affected. The issue of thinking, the way the person will think, will differ from the way you think. Ability to cope with situations will
also differ.
The person will be exposed to stress because the cortisol is low. The issue of interacting with people, no way.
Another issue.
Is another issue. You won't interact with people, always be alone. So that is a problem that has to do with the damages that depression will do to an individual.
Wow. I believe you are enjoying how we are rolling the dice of this conversation. And so if you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please locate the subscription button and click on the subscription icon so that you'll be kept posted with every episode that follows this. And you are very free at any point to drop in questions in the comment section because our speakers here will definitely attend to them. And these points are, I posted this some days ago. Is it possible to live without depression? I got so many views. People came from different angle, from the religious angle, from the, realistic angle. And I just believe that it's about human perspective. But is it possible to live without depression?
Very well. Living with depression, though, is challenging, or without depression. Let me start from living with depression. It's very challenging. Like I said earlier, sadness is just a mere thing. Maybe you lose your job, you have some issues in your family. It's sad. It makes you sad. It's different from depression. Living with depression is challenging because it causes a lot of damages to you. You'll not be focused in school. Your place of work will not be active and vibrant
as before.
Then there's one perception, an ideology that many persons believe. They think that this depression is highly common among a low class of citizens.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes. People were rich, no, get
it. No, it's wrong.
Wow.
That is wrong belief and perception.
So if I did rich now,
depression is general. Either poor or rich, you can be depressed. Now, you can associate or attribute being depressed as a low income earner person, coupled with the situation in the economy in Nigeria. Yeah, that can lead to depression because as I'm talking to you, many persons are depressed. Many are even passed away because of what we are going through. Then living without depression, it's easy because you with depression, by creating awareness about what you are going through, you can live without depression. Great awareness is very, very important. Living without depression. It's not a situation you are going through something that is bothering you, is hitting you up. You keep on keeping it to yourself. No, share it with others. Share it with others. Awareness is very, very important.
Because if you die, person you know.
And also consulting your medical personnel to know what exactly and how that such situation, that kind of like madam talk about various types of depression, to know what kind of depression you are going through so that it can be tackled at the right time. At the right time. So there is possibility of living without depression.
And there's also possibility
of living with depression. Then it is our responsibility as human resource experts to know, and also psychologists, to know and study the environment.
Very well.
To know how we can help the depressed persons by creating necessary programs that will make great awareness to those persons who are depressed. So there's possibility of living without depression.
Fine.
And also we can live with depression. It's challenging.
It's challenging. The possibility of living with or without depression is what we are talking about here. Okay, so you see, I believe that everything is all about the attitude, the habit. We can form everything with, and it can live with us. Okay, so now someone with depression, how can the person convert it to courage? Because depression, when you are depressed, you lack the courage, you lack that, because when the happiness is not there, possibly there's no courage in doing anything. So how can he convert that part of his life into courage so that he can wake up, brace up himself, and get to do things in the society?
He has said, given us some points that practice mindfulness.
Okay.
You have to be mindful of the current thing that you are aware that leads to that thing. Assuming that your loved one is dead and is the one that used to cater for you. There's nothing that you are going to do about that. So you have to think positively. Forget about it. You see, as human, you can just like Jesus now. When Jesus was fasting, the devil will go to
Chop
didn't mind him. The Lord will say, "Get behind me." So if you are depressed now, something in my mind, don't commit suicide. Don't eat.
Don't eat at all.
Even take your bath. Don't forget about. Don't have interest for anybody.
Anyway, lock yourself inside.
School again. Even work. Don't go to work. All the stuff. So you have to kick off such mind. Concentrate. Focus. Set a positive target and goal for yourself. That this thing I'm going to achieve it. Not minding what it is. You have to listen to music.
The things you love. Oh God, this.
You have to exercise. You can walk around your environment. You can do some jogging. That will help to keep off that depressive state. Here you go to church, they clap, you clap. They sing, they sing. See, all that will take the depressive mind away from you.
Wow.
And you have to to some other person. This is the problem I have. And somebody can just help you.
With counsel.
Give you a reasonable step to follow that will help you to have a good quality of life. Then some other thing is that you have to interact with people. Go to your close people, those that you really love, go to them, sit with them. Not to just stay alone. Don't be alone, because if you do such, you think of committing, you have that suicidal ideation. So those are ways that you can use and help yourself, give yourself courage.
Wow. So, Ma, before we call this a wrap, I just want you to give, in just briefly, your last word to our viewers there.
So our viewers, depression as a mood disorder alters our behavioral pattern. And see, in life, for example, as things are now in our country, there are a lot of things that you buy a thing today, 10 naira tomorrow, even in a minute's time, be told it's 50 naira.
Price is escalating.
So you have to adjust yourself to the situation. Manage as you've seen things are. Don't try to, I want to go and kill yourself. Don't kill yourself, because it may be after you've killed yourself, this thing will improve. So just relax yourself, relax your mind. Just set a target. If you used to go to the market with 20,000 naira and you went and so happened that, you can readjust yourself according to your income. Don't try to overdo.
Or impress someone.
Just relax yourself. See, like people that used to have occasions, don't try to impress people, because at the end you go and go a debtor. So it shouldn't be. So just manage the thing that you have now. Focus on the now. Meditate on what you have now. Then try to interact with people, associate with people. Because when you associate, my friend, I went and bought this, then see that, don't take it back and just sit and say, what is this kind of life? I heard in the news that the man, the wife, the children, the man said, I can't cope again. He ran away and left the wife and the children. Much later, the woman, I don't know whether she just took a substance that just back off.
Oh, God.
Leaving those children. So, because these children are going to suffer. So, as life is now, we have to concentrate and do what we have for now. And just believe that as long as life is, and as long as God has told us that because He lives, that we'll face tomorrow. Just believe so, that tomorrow is there, and you have to face it properly. Set a good goal for yourself and forget about how things are. In the end, all shall be well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. To you, our viewers out there, always try to remember that depression is an attitude. And I will always tell you that happiness is confidence. You can never do anything courageous if you are not happy. It was a nice, insightful moment with these scholars and personnel. I really love them. Thank you very much for coming, Ma. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate. To my lovely viewers out there, I love you all. Please try as much as possible to subscribe to this channel. Try as much as possible to stay here, for I will keep you updated. Have a nice time. Till next episode, remain safe.